All right. Really don't have any injuries to give you until the guys get in here. So, um, with that, good team win. I thought our guys stepped up when they needed to, made plays. Um, Obviously, it came down to Butker with all those kicks and just doing a nice job with that. And tough kid that for a kicker, you don't say this quite as often, but he loves to compete um, and really bear down on that. And there was no question when it came off his foot what was going on there. So, and then just you got to see again growth with Pat at the quarterback spot where things weren't going well for him at the beginning, and he just bared down and worked his way through and kind of brought everybody with him on that. The Badger kept everybody going along with Chris and some of those veteran guys. They reached down and we were able to make some plays down the stretch, so which became important for us. Snead with the interception was big, and Tyreek with the big catch for the touchdown was big. But you got to see some grit from our guys. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Go first to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good afternoon.
All right, Herbie.
Hey, Mike Pennel is eligible to come off a suspension following Monday night's game. Do you anticipate, or how fast do you anticipate activating him to the active roster in time for Week 3?
Yeah, so there's a chance he's back up, ready to go. So, we're I'll let Veach do that part, but there's a good chance he's up, Herbie.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, just checking on Sammy Watkins. Is he in the concussion protocol? And also Charvarius Ward, do you anticipate maybe he can at least do some things in practice this week?
Yeah, we'll see with Sharkavius. Yes, Sharkavius. Yes, and then we'll as far as the protocol goes, the guys are coming in now, so I'll get more information on that as we go.
Let's go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. Yesterday you played with two really young cornerbacks, and obviously not the two guys you planned on having to be your outside guys going into the season. What did you think of the jobs that they did?
You know what? They were respectable, I thought. Obviously Snead had the interception, but Felton, I thought he did a good job too. So I thought the guys worked well. There's some things that they can take out of it and learn from. So, but I thought they did a good job.
Let's go next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, I think the overwhelming story around the league from Week 2 was injuries. A lot of big guys, Saquon down, Drew Lock hurt, a lot of guys. Is there any credence to no preseason games and a lot of these injuries? Have you seen that in your own team?
Yeah, I mean, listen, knock on wood, but it seems about normal for right now for us. I'm not going to speak for the other team. I mean, you hate seeing anybody get hurt in this thing, but it seems right about normal for the first 4 games. Normally you see something like this going on with the type of injuries that we have.
So next to Seren Petro. Go ahead, Seren.
Coach, a couple questions. Number one, I know you got off to a slow start the last few games. That doesn't really, show up at the end of the day because you had won 7 in a row by double digits. This one, you didn't get out there, right? We know the playoffs games, you guys roared by everybody and everything, but is it a sign that maybe the team is overconfident that it comes out and, just feels like, hey, we got time, we'll get it done eventually? And does that catch up with you? Did it almost catch up with you here with the Chargers? And then I was curious if you got a different look from their offense when they changed quarterbacks, how much maybe that turned what they were doing offensively at you.
Yeah, they did some good things. I thought offensively, I'm still trying to get over Tyreek pulling his helmet off question from you. You're better than that. So I think you can probably come up with some better questions. And the first part of that question, I don't feel that way about the guys. I think they're working their tail off. It's not a video game out there. We're playing, and they're playing too, and they're all professionals. So I'd probably expect a question that's a little more professional than that.
Go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Andy, I'm curious because of what happened with Frank Clark yesterday, if that is anything related to what he went through from an illness standpoint. I know he talked about the acid in his stomach. Was that similar to what happened last season, or is this slightly new based on what occurred yesterday?
No, he's had this for a number of years, I believe. So he works through it, and nobody wants to be out there more than him. That's never a question with Frank Clark. He loves to play the game, but it's something that he battles through with this, and so our doctors try to monitor it and keep it under control the best they can.
Go next to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy, I know you mentioned Harrison off the top here, and I know you've got full confidence in him, right? And we see why. But when it was 4th and 1 there at the end before the penalty, when it was still 4th and 1, was that a difficult decision on whether to go for it and get a little bit closer? And also, do you think you would have made the same decision last year or the year before with him?
I mean, that last part is a good question there. I want to tell you yes. I can't tell you that though. I don't know how I'd feel about time before, but I had no doubt on this one. At that point, I thought we were well within his range. David told me that 40 was he was hitting him consistently there. Before the game, there was no conditions weather-wise that would have taken you out of that wind or whatever. So I had full trust in him making it.
Got time for a couple more. Let's go Darren and then Steve. Go ahead, Darren.
Coach, thank you for doing this. I did celebrate Cheeseburger Day just as you suggested I did. I would like to know, what would you say the makeup of your team is? They've won 11 straight games coming out of the Super Bowl in the last 2 games, and how they've won the game. They've come back from behind. They've either had big leads or whatever. How would you say the makeup of this team is continue on with this 11-game winning streak?
Yeah, well, in this in this league, every game you got to bear down, and so we didn't play as well as we wanted to, obviously, but we played again well enough to win the game, which ends up being important. There are plenty of things that we can work on to get ourselves better, and so that's how we're going to approach it here this week.
Let's go last to Steve Walls. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Andy. Last night, you turned to a point in the game where the offense needed a kickstart, right? And ended up going no huddle to change the flow and speed of the game. Just how much of that is all Patrick in the game, making those on-field adjustments and on the fly, and how much of it is you and EB?
Yeah, so we went the no huddle in the 2-minute drill, but other than that, we didn't use it during the game. So, I mean, it wasn't an abnormal situation, in other words, that we used it. But we did make some adjustments, and Pat had suggestions, but some of our coaches did a nice job with it, starting with EB and Mike Kafka and Joe Blameyer, Greg Lewis. I mean, they all had input there as we worked through it and down the stretch. So, but I mean, going back on the first part, the only time we were in it was towards the end of the second half there.
Coach,
First half. Excuse me, first half. All right.
Coach, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.